Alright, Mjolnir men, Mjolnir women, and newcomers. I know it's been a while. If I seem a little off, it's probably because I only got 1 hour of sleep last night, and I just took a decent nap. But that's not what this video is about. What this video is about is your interest in my story of how I got into the occult, why I'm into the occult. So yeah, I'm just gonna take you all the way back to birth. I promise I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. Alright, I wrote some notes down, so. Section 1. Religion and my young self. This is 1996 to 2008. My first experience with religion ever was probably at 3 or 4 years old. I have Catholic, Orthodox, and Appalachian snake handler family members. So, what would happen, I could only come over to my step-grandma's house on Sundays. And I would have to go to Catholic Mass as well. Now, even as a kid, I thought that was somewhat fishy. I thought she was trying to proselytize me or something. I mean, that church won't even recognize her anyway because her relationship's kind of adulterous, but, I don't care. I love her, but, I found it kind of fishy at the time. So yeah, as I said before, Catholic Mass. I didn't enjoy it at all. Other kids were like reading the Bible or praying, and I was looking at the ceiling, and stuff was just kind of going in one ear, out the other. It's just how it is. I didn't care for it. I really just saw it as nothing more than fairy tales, to be honest. And I was really apathetical to it. I just kind of went through the motions, but at a certain point of time, I just stopped going to my step-grandmother's house because I didn't want to go to Catholic Mass. I didn't feel like a Catholic, so. Yeah, okay. So, actually, most atheists or occultists or Satanists, they'll have this elaborate story about how they were a fundamentalist or they believed in Christ and they had this inner conflict with themselves, and it took a lot of courage for them to come out, which I can respect. But myself, religion, I literally didn't think of religion for years. Like, I don't remember thinking about religion at all. As a kid, from 5 to 11, I didn't think of it at all. I really didn't care. It was actually weird. Let's see. Yeah. And, I should probably give you a precursor. I wasn't raised in a religious household. That isn't to say that I was taught to hate God and stuff. My mom's kind of a liberal Christian. My dad is more apathetical. He doesn't even give a shit. He doesn't think it's real, but he doesn't really give a shit about it either. It just wasn't brought up in my house. It wasn't a big deal. Literally what it was like was, it just wasn't a big deal. They didn't make it a big deal. They didn't make this big deal about how I have to be a faithful, God-fearing person to be productive and a good moral person in society, and that it'll keep me away from drugs or whatever. It just was never brought up, and it was never a big deal. And then I got a little older, and I decided if I was wanting to walk down that path or not. And I studied it, found it wasn't for me, and moved on. And one funny story to wrap up this section would be, and I'm sorry if this is kind of like stop and go. It's kind of late. I'm very sorry. But most kids when you're 7 or so, you fear Jesus. I feared Santa Claus. Now, I remember this one time back in July. Oh, I'm really sorry about the darkness. Shit. Anyways. I remember this one time in, like, July 2014. I was playing with, like, a Bionicle. If you know, it shows kind of how aged I am. If any of you remember the Bionicle figures. Fucking kick ass. But anyways, I didn't realize, like, those cross beams were to keep the hips together, so I didn't bother putting them on, so I just kind of stuck the body to the hips with no, like, bracer, so I just kept falling off, and I'd start cussing, I'd be like, shit, and then I'd freak out, I'd be like, Santa, don't give me coal. So how most fundamentalists would fear God, I feared Santa Claus. It was kind of funny thinking back on it. I would thank Santa Claus for food. I don't know. It was weird. It's just something I did when I was like 7 and 8. I got over it and didn't think about religion that much, and yeah. So that's basically most of my childhood. Now let's get to the atheist years. Section 2. The Hardline Atheist Years, 2009 to 2011. In 6th grade was the first time I realized I was an atheist. It wasn't a long thought out decision either. It was kind of a spontaneous decision. Here's basically the story. I was in my 6th grade science class. I was a person to pick on. I had long hair back then. I really didn't care. You know, people were trying to call me transgender and stuff, but it was like, what the fuck ever. Just say what you want. I mean, almost a decade later, I still got long hair. I still act the same way. Of course, I've matured, though. But, yeah. It was in 6th grade science class. We were doing an assignment, but we could work with our table mates because it was separated in tables of like 4. I'm sitting here. Yeah. I'm here. A guy, let's say, on this end would be right here. A girl would be over there. And a son of a Christian preacher is right here. And something was happening. I think it was about my hair. And I think this one girl, the girl brought up like, well, don't you want to be a good Christian? You're going to have to cut your hair to be a good Christian. And she's like, you do believe in God, right? Or something along that. And I just froze. And I was like, God. And I just was thinking. And thinking about it. Maybe like 2 minutes. It was weird. It was dead silent. She asked if I was okay. I snapped out of it. I was like, you know, I don't think I believe in God. I didn't even know what the term atheist meant. She's like, what? What? You don't believe in God? What? She's freaking out, throwing a fit. She's like, well, how are you gonna? You're denying your father? I was like, what? My dad's my father. She's like, no, that's not what I meant. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't think about it for a while until 7th grade again. Because, like, you know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm atheist hardcore and I live that lifestyle every day. I just, you know, I had the opinion and I moved on. And then someone asked me latter half of 7th grade in band class. This was about a year later. He's like, are you an atheist or a Christian? I was like, I think I'm an atheist. And everybody freaked out. It was kind of weird. You know, I figured people wouldn't be so pissed off about it. Like, I know I live in somewhat of a religious town, but a lot of people now are atheist or agnostic and don't even give a shit. And one of my best friends in band at the time, he basically told me to fuck off. He was a Lutheran, and I got so pissed off, and I went on MySpace instant message. God damn it. MySpace instant message. So this shows you how long ago this was. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? That doesn't change me as a person. He's like, our church tells us not to talk to Christians. I was like, what? He's like, our church tells us not to talk to atheists, my bad. I'm like, why would it matter? He's like, my pastor said you guys are very immoral. I'm like, what? And he's like, listen, I can't talk to you unless you repent. And I literally lied to still be friends with them. And this is a common theme from like 13 until I graduated. I had to put on a mask around Christians because I liked them. They were very good people. But they would not talk to me if they knew I was like casting spells and shit. So I lied. I said, "Oh, I'm just not confident in my faith right now." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." It's like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm sure I think he's not even a Christian anymore. I don't even talk to him anymore. But because of this, for like the next year, so like all of 8th grade, I had this intense hatred for Christians. I was like, fuck them. They're fucking annoying. Damn them to hell. I just hated them. And I know it's not really their fault because one person was like, oh, fuck you, atheist, lol. But, I was only 14, irrational. I mean, if you've seen any 14-year-old make a comment on a video on YouTube before and try to argue with someone, you kind of know how fucking stupid they can be. There's a very small minority of intellectual 14 to 13-year-olds, so. But, Section 3. First tastes of the occult. Now, I'm not gonna lie. In later 2012, I was like, the idea of this Jesus guy who loves you was comforting. It was comforting. I could see where people were coming from. I was into the conspiracy stuff, and they're like, I was watching all these retarded, like, oh, it's all part of Satan's plan, and I just never bought it. It was just, like, I couldn't believe in Jesus because the reptilians were demons or something. I'm not really into that shit anymore. I mean, I like a good alien story, but I don't, like, firmly believe every political position's held by a reptilian shapeshifter anymore. Anyways. It was comforting. I could see why people believed in it. But at the same time, I just couldn't. I had not studied really the religion itself yet. I almost converted to Islam, hilariously enough. Thankfully that didn't happen. I would have probably been on YouTube like Imam Man 19 or something spouting Quran verses. But, I think I was just doing it because a lot of rappers I listened to at the time were like Muslims. But I don't really like Abrahamic religion. That's when I found out. A couple months passed by and I discovered Satanism. Boo, spooky. Not LaVeyan, but that weird Joy of Satan thing. And it was interesting. I didn't believe in it, but it was interesting. If you're interested, just look up joyofsatan.com. It's kind of this weird offshoot, theistic satanic branch. But, later in 2013, around the time this channel was created, now, I started, rewind a little bit. Then I became like an atheistic Satanist for a while. Was It was fine, you know. I never did the magic. I didn't believe in it. And then I was originally gonna start this channel about a year before I actually made videos on it, because the thing is, this is off topic, I know, but this channel was made like July 19th, 2013. I started making videos like the 27th of July 2014. But I was originally gonna like make videos on Satanism and stuff. You know, and in 2012 I still thought pagans were like devil worshippers. I just didn't look into it. And in 2013, when I started, you know, realizing the actual, you know, because back in 2011, I used to watch Satanic International. I thought that was just his name or something, and I was like 15 at the time. I didn't know, but he was talking about Satanism, and it was freaking me out because, you know, I had that conception that they were devil worshippers and whatnot. But anyways, after I learned the true things about Satanism, I did my first curse in 2013, spring 2013. Did it with one of my best friends. Called upon a voodoo god to make someone lose wealth. It was just a sick practical joke, but we wanted it to happen. Weird thing about it is, about 5 minutes after, it's like it was online. It was stupid, but it was online, and it said your soul has been deducted like 231 karma points. And what had happened was my friend took a swig out of this 2-liter of pop. It wasn't even marginally big. It was a relatively small sip, and he started choking on it, and I thought he was dying. Well, after that, a couple of days passed by. That person we cast the curse on lost his wallet in a ridiculous way. We think he lost it on a roller coaster. It just goes beyond the realm of coincidence, right? And I think one of the first books that got me into the occult, and don't laugh, but it was kind of more white magic. I was, you know, in high school, I really enjoyed my aerospace science class. So I just thought this was like an encyclopedia of minerals and stuff. But it turned out it was like a weird occult type book too. Because it has like zodiac signs. And it's what it's beneficial for, you know, like someone wants to wear smoky quartz to protect their aura or something. But it's Judy Hall's Encyclopedia of Crystals. I probably read this in December 2012, I think. That's when I bought it. But moving on, this is getting a little long. I understand if you didn't make it this far. Learning the truth about Abrahamic religion. Starting in 2013, I ran across a user named Styx Hexenhammer 666. I came across like a Sarah Palin video, and I was like, this is an interesting insight. I wonder what else he made. And I found all his videos. And from that day, I knew that he was my favorite YouTuber. I still watch him to this day. So he inspired me to do, and he's kind of an unofficial mentor of mine, but he inspired me to do my own research, and then I did it for myself, and I saw the evils of religion. Like, I didn't believe in it anyway. I was never like a Christian, but yeah, I just learned about it, decided it wasn't for me, and then that was that. And then I think what got me into neo-paganism was I was starting to read about Futhark, Elder Futhark. You know, the Viking rune system. And that was interesting. Didn't really do much with runes. I got my sets and were, but it got me into paganism, so that's good. And there's books, and I kind of am embarrassed to say I own a Zal Ravenheart book, but it looked funny, so I bought it. And I was like getting in the mood to cast some curses, because this guy was being a cockhead to my the same friend that choked on the 2-liter. So I casted a curse on him. About 48 hours later, he gets a hold of me. He's like, my girlfriend's suing me for sexual harassment. My GF, she's suing me for sexual harassment. And I said, oh, well, that sucks. Whatever. I mean, why'd you touch her? He's like, I didn't touch her. But, yeah. He's not in jail, but the cops had to investigate him, I think. And nothing really happened in 2014 except I started making videos on this account, and I still am. And today, what am I doing? Still making videos. Just learning about different calendar systems right now. As of now, it's just interesting to me. And I don't know what the future holds, but, this is how I got into the occult. Why am I in the occult? Because it works. Every curse I've casted, every spell I've casted, it has worked. And I will, people will say, how? And I'll get into that in a later video, probably later today, as in later on December 1st, 2015. Because, it's 1:07 a.m. I should probably hit the hay pretty soon. But, yeah. It works. Everything I've casted works. Everything makes sense to me in the occult. I'll make a video about that. It'll be like a part 2. Probably won't be 23 minutes long, or 22 and a half minutes long. But yeah. So, this is my story. Comment yours. If you're watching, tell me, what your story was like. We'd love to have a discussion about it. This is Mjolnir Man. Yourself wonderful December 1st, 2015. Wonderful kickoff to the Yuletide season, buddy. Peace out and subscribe.